Hi guys, welcome back to a new video. Today I'm going to be taking you for a hot lap and track guide. Hot lap at the end of the video of the Las Vegas circuit. My apologies for not getting this out before the race. I've just been very busy over the weekend. But here we are, Las Vegas. Interesting track, to be honest. Like it, don't like it. Mixed feelings. Yeah, the layout really does look like an upside down pig. At the bottom left with the track map. Anyway, here we are for a track guide. So, you're going to be flying back through the final corner, 8th gear. Coming down into turn 1. Also, quick tip, I didn't include this in the last video. 100% diff and 54 brake bias. You can use 53. For me though, I like to be able to stomp on the brake, turn in. I prefer front locking than rear locking majority of the time, especially for this turn 1 and I think it's turn 6 I think. I don't really know the corner names very well. Anyway, so coming into turn 1, getting distracted. You can use 2 gears here, 3rd or 4th. Now, I prefer to use lower gears personally, that's just who I am. I just like to use lower gears, mainly because using a lower gear is going to give you more rotation, and it's going to feel like you have more control over the car. It's going to be a bit more responsive, but then that does mean you are going to be lacking a bit on traction when you are exiting the corner. Personally, I'm fine with that. I actually don't mind that at all, because if you use 4th gear, it's the complete opposite of what I just said. Basically, it's a bit less. The car reacts a little bit slower, you know, but the traction on exit is a bit better. So either one is fine. It's just preference. Now, braking marker, 100 meter or just after. I prefer 100 or probably around here is perfect. So I'm going to be using 3rd, my preferred gear. You want to use all the exit. If you touch this wall, you do get an invalidation majority of the time. I'm surprised you didn't get one then. Anyway, so coming down into turn 1, brake at the 100 just after, 3rd or 4th. Now, you're going to want to cut this as much as possible. See where my right tyre is? Literally right by the white line. Simply saves you distance, and because of that gains you lap time. Now, on the exit, its traction is difficult, let's just say. I think there's a bit of elevation change, which can unsettle the rear of the car, create a bit of oversteer, especially when you're pushing on the limit. It's very common to get snaps coming out. So you want to try and floor it as much as possible. You're going to be in 5th gear. This corner, just about flat, and in a qualifying, league race, important you take it flat, otherwise down the next straight you can lose a lot of time. So flat out in 5th gear. If you are having trouble doing it in 5th, you can shift up a bit early into 6th. It's just going to help the car feel a bit more settled. Yeah, so going through, I prefer 5th, and then as soon as I open the DRS, and then I go up into 6th. So like I did there. Now, like every single straight on this game, there are a huge amount of bumps. You want to stay on the right or the middle. You do not want to go over here. As you can see, I'm literally just about to go over this huge bump. As you can see there, loses you a lot of time. So you're going to be in 8th gear, coming into turn 4 or 5. I'm not sure. Anyway, you do not want to touch this. I think I'll get an invalidation for that, because you can scrape this and it will invalidate your lap. So you're going to be in 8th gear. You're going to want to brake just after the 100. 100 is here. Or at the 100 or just after. Now, personally I like to use the engine braking technique, which is where the actual corner, I prefer, personally, like I said, I like to use lower gears. You can use 4th. It's just literally just preference. I keep it in 4th, so downshifting from 8th gear into 4th, and then when you're about to touch the curb, or just about bit before, probably about here, you shift down into third. It's just going to have more stability under braking, and it actually helps slow the car down a bit quicker. So you're going to want to be cutting this as much as possible to carry the most amount of speed, because otherwise you're going to have to turn the wheel more, increasing scrubbing and friction, which obviously leads to slowing you down. So the exit, it feels like you can floor it on the throttle, but then at the same time you can't. It's a weird feeling because of the low downforce we're running. You know, low wings to the long straights. You know, we struggle a bit through the corners. But yeah, so I'd recommend just trying to be brave, and yeah, just getting your lap time overall if you are brave. Now, heading into one of the most difficult braking points on the calendar, and the reason for this is it's a blind corner. You literally can't see the apex, and there's not a proper braking point here. You want to be braking at around 75, no later really, or you're just going to miss the corner. Brake it at 75, down into third. You want to try and keep it wide, and then cut back in to the apex. Now, the curb here is actually relatively flat, so you want to use this to your advantage to just glide over it. You'll see very clearly in the Hotlap that I have at the end of the video, I launch over this curb and the curb just up there, because it literally just gains you lap time, and if it's a low curb, and if you can use it, you know, use it. So like I said, you want to kind of go across that curb at a high speed, just gains you lap time. Same for this, you don't want to be out here. You can probably have your tyre on here, you know, it's going to be quicker than if your tyre's out here, but preferably you want to have your whole car over it with your left wheel right by the white line. Now, traction on here is a bit, it's I think because of the curbs with the unsettling of the car, you just have to be a bit careful, but that, you know, that just comes with practice. This corner, there's not really a braking point, so it's just about practicing and getting a feel for when to brake. You know, you want to be coming over to the right to open the corner up as much as possible, and then kind of cutting back in. You want to almost aim for this, the white edge of the curb here, and get as close to the wall as you can, but without touching the wall. And then you can floor it on the accelerator. Now, to gain you those few thousandths, you want to go up as close as you can to the wall, preferably without touching it. Same here. But you'll see in the Hotlap, I drift over here a little bit, but there are bumps, huge amount of bumps, so you don't want to be doing that, but I did. Easy mistake to make, to be honest. Yeah, so you want to hug the curb, and for a braking point for a very difficult corner is the bridge, and it's good how there's a bridge, because it can't move. You can use the shadow, but shadows aren't fully consistent, due to, I don't know, say at a league race, for example, you're doing qualifying and they accidentally forget to set it to night time, then the shadow's not going to be there, you're not going to have a braking point, and it's just going to mess up everything. So you want to brake when you're under the bridge, about here. Come down into fourth gear using engine braking, like I said, and let me just get rid of this huge bollard. In time trial you can't really get rid of the bollard, because every time you do that and press restart, the bollard just comes back. So, but in like a qualifying race, on your outlap or on the first few laps of a race, you want to knock over this bollard because it's huge, and also it just gains you lap time by using that part of the curb. So, you want to be in fourth gear, like I previously said, and you know, turning in. Then I like to go down to third, just before I hit the actual curb. You can launch over this curb. As you can see, I'm fully over it. I was worried I was going to get a beach then for a moment. Yeah, fourth, down into third. The second I hit the curb, go into fourth for an exit, and then you can stomp on the throttle. Don't hit the wall, obviously. Done that too many times, and you just completely spin. Now, absolutely bombing it down the strip into 8th gear, DRS wide open. There are a few bumps, so you want to follow this. You can see they're not very clear at the moment. These white paint markers for the actual road. You want to follow these two. Don't really want to go over here, a bit too close to the wall, and then over these three here have got bumps. So, and this will actually take you very nicely onto one of the most difficult braking points on the track. Now, you're going to be in 8th gear, of course. You can once again use 4th or 3rd. For me, like I said earlier, I like to use the lower gears for the rotation. I prefer the rotation. You want to brake at about 110, 120 meters, no later, or you're just literally going to hit the wall at the apex. And you know, it's a difficult braking point because you're going nearly hitting the limiter, braking at 110. So it's almost going to feel like you're going to miss the corner, but once the braking really kicks in, you do make it. So, like I said, you know, shifting down into 4th or 3rd, either one is fine really, because 3rd you carry a bit more speed into the corner, 4th you don't, but then you get a better exit. But it's completely personal preference. This curve is huge. Look what happens if I just touch it. The car goes up, lifts up by a huge amount. Ideal racing line through here is to get so close to the curb but don't actually properly touch it. About here is perfect, because look what happens if I go over it. Car raises up a huge amount. And if you miss the apex, you almost want to aim for the curb and then almost pull your wheel out a little bit, because missing the apex is just going to cause you so much time. It's going to cost you a 10th, and that could be the difference between pole and being in 10th and qualifying 10th. So, you know, with the gaps on this game are so close. So, you know, every millisecond counts. It's going to be in 3rd, like I just said, almost grazing that curb. And now this needs to be flat out. If you don't do this flat out, you're going to lose so much time. Cut this as much as possible. As you can see, my front left is so close to the white line, so close to invalidating, but you need to. Like I said, flat out, flat out. Now, there's a few bumps on this, like every straight, but you just stick to the right, and then cut across to shorten that distance. And that is a hot lap around Las Vegas.